Hello, and welcome back to episode 2 of my Minecraft Let's Play series. My name is Hanky Frank, and today I'm going to be constructing my first build. My idea is to have some sort of like an old building that was abandoned at some point, and now I have reclaimed it and started living in it, so it's going to be a little bit run down by vegetation and potentially falling apart in certain places. I just had that idea in my head and I think it will look cool. So I'm gonna lay out my block palette for you over here just to show you kind of the idea that I was going with. So for the walls and the exterior, I'm gonna go with these gray colors, and I kind of have this like gradient here, and I like the tuff because it has little elements of green in it that pair really well with the mossy cobblestone here. And there's also a mossy stone bricks variation that I'll be using, and so this will just be like one big gradient with some kind of overgrowth vegetation. And then I was thinking for an accent color, we would do these kind of natural browns. I'm thinking mostly packed mud, but some bring the value up or down with either the jungle wood or the spruce wood. So here's my whole palette, and now I'm going to take you through the build process. Before I get started, if you liked the little musical montages from the last episode, I actually recorded myself playing piano to use in those clips, so I wanted to put it out there. If you're interested, let me know down in the comments what your favorite classical piano piece is, and I will try to include it in a future episode. I would also encourage you to stick around to the end of this video, as I have another really great montage. I had a lot of fun editing this one, and I think you'll like it. Alright, so I installed a mod called FreeCam, and basically it just lets me move the camera around outside of my head without actually moving my character. And I actually really like it because it lets me get a bird's eye view of the scene, and I can actually get a better idea of where to actually start building, as opposed to having to build up a tower of dirt blocks or something like that. This is just a little bit easier. So, as I said last episode, my plan is to have the house tucked into this little corner by these two hills. I think that will frame the picture of the house really nicely. And I went ahead and constructed the frame of the house out of dirt blocks first, just to get an idea of the size and shape, how it looks in the environment. I actually didn't like the first place I built the frame, so I tore it down and moved it a few blocks over, and I was happy with the new position, so I added in the roof lines, still in dirt, just to see if I liked it. And yep, I think it looks really good. Okay, so the next step here is to start replacing the dirt frame with these basalt pillars. I really like their directional pattern. I think it makes sense as a structural pillar, and also the way that this is shaded, it adds dimension even though it's flat. I really like it, but you have to be careful not to overdo it with this one, just because of how intense the direction and the dark border is. After that, I added the walls. You know, I like that Mojang keeps adding blocks to the game, especially the gray ones. And I know I'm not using the most recent gray ones that they added, but the more gray blocks, the more cool gradients we can make out of gray blocks. So I moved on to finish the rest of the walls with my nice gray gradient and green accents. I put the structure in for a chimney, and then I moved on to the roofs. I made a slanted roof for this like side shed leaning up against the main house with a little sunken in spot, and then the main house, I just decided to go with a classic gable style roof made out of mud bricks. Also, just for like continuity's sake, if this were real and if it were to rain, this design would like make all the water fall down off the side away from the main house. Whereas like if I had done a peaked roof, all the water would pool up against the big house, and we wouldn't want that, even though it would never happen in Minecraft. I just like to think about these things. The final like big piece was a chimney on the big house. I wanted to add some visual contrast. We have like a really light colored roof, and I thought that like a big dark sooty chimney would be perfect to make the house not only more balanced color wise, but it would make it look older and more lived in. And like, I guess the idea is that maybe the roof has been replaced over the years. It's made out of tiles or in wood, and the roof has some weak spots, but the chimney is more solid. It's made of stone, but it has never been replaced, and it has years of soot just like caked in, so it's really dark up at the top near where the smoke comes out. And while I was up on the roof, I thought, yeah, maybe the roof is newer, but it's not new. So I put some more patches in, this big sunken spot, just to really sell the idea that this is an old house. And that's what you call lore. So at this point, I decided to tidy up some of the rough edges of the build just by cleaning up some of the roof lines and taking down my dirt scaffolding, mostly with the goal of just prepping the interior for my next episode when I fully move into the house and decorate the inside and make it functional. Here's the build so far. I think it's coming together really nicely. I feel like it has character, it has a storyline, it looks nice, and I have a couple more things I want to do just to tie a pretty little ribbon on it, not literally, but figuratively, by adding just a couple more things, and for those, I will take you on a magical musical ride. Alright, so all that's left is to clean things up. I removed some of the birch trees behind my house just to reduce visual clutter. I did some farming to expand the wheat field a little bit to add to the foreground, and I buried the torches so they would be hidden but still provide enough light to block mobs from spawning around my beautiful abode. You know, just trying to make things picture perfect for the thumbnail. Thank you so much for sticking around and watching my video. If you liked this episode, please consider liking and subscribing. It would really help me out. and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.